Hi there. Okay, so this is a bit of an impromptu read that I just felt called to do. So we're transitioning into Cancer season, which is a water sign, and it is a heavy emotional presence in the body and how we experience things. But we are coming out of a Gemini-filled season, which I mentioned in one of my last videos, a lot to do with the mind and communication and stuff like that. And I've been feeling personally this there's like a lot going on up here, and specifically like the way that I've had to make decisions or figure out what's best for going forward because I'm in like a kind of choices moment of my life. um that the listening, that the way to work it out is not to engage too much with what's going on up here. Like the brain, the mind, the thoughts can all figure out possible scenarios and what seems best and remembers the memories and like how it went before and all that kind of stuff. But the way to know what is the right thing is to drop into your heart space and into your intuition and like feeling it instead. And so as we transition from a mind-centered sign into a heart and body-centered sign, I've also noticed there's like, I mean, we're having a full moon in Capricorn today, tomorrow. I guess it's like technically today because it's the 21st. And then at the end of this month on, I think the 26th of June, but whenever the full moon is at the end of this month, or no, it'll be in July at that stage, right? 21st of July. Anyway, that's going to be a full moon that's also in Capricorn, which to some who have had experiences with Capricorns can be kind of a harsh sign. And the experience of like living as a Capricorn, I think those people with like it in their top three or whatever, but you can be extra hard on yourself. And sometimes that can work as far as you getting things done. Sometimes it's just what like ends up, putting so much weight on you that it's hard to get things done or whatever. And with that kind of energy being in the full moon, it's like actually a time to look at in what ways, in a structural sense, like what it is that is a part of your day-to-day life that can be released, that isn't necessary to like the absolute facts and kind of practicalness of whatever scenario you're in. But also it's like a time to remember to not engage with the parts of you that are like mean, hard on yourself, judging, comparing, things like that, and to release kind of most specifically the shadow energies in a sense of what Capricorn can represent. Because a lot of the people that, okay, so the generation that have, I think it's about a 7-year thing, right? As in Pluto is in Capricorn, I believe. For anyway, there's large generations of people with Capricorn being the sign that a lot of the later planets are in. And like, yeah, it can fall extra heavy on, you'll know because of your birth chart how it's affecting you as well, which I would encourage you to look into if you haven't, because it can be very helpful as to why everything's so heavy. But I've noticed some people that I see regularly posting online come back from that a little bit, and like not where I know them in my day-to-day life. So I've just been like, oh, I noticed that you're not around, are you okay? Kind of a thing. But they're also people that are specifically like on a spiritual journey, on an out loud, like I'm going to have a relationship with my angelic team, my spiritual support team, and with my inner self. Like that's something that there is a part of their existence, living in that way consciously. And so when I see a lot of people around, well, that I follow, I guess, that drop out of being online as much, like, they're going through what that is that they're going through. But I wanted to also say, because like it's that journey tends to be kind of a lonely one for a minute. A journey you take alone. It's not necessarily lonely just because you are alone, right? But there can be times in which you're not alone because you are aware through your spiritual practice that you are not the only one within a collective going through what you're going through. You also know that your spiritual team is always there for you. The universe is on your side. You have probably developed ways in which that you now trust yourself to actually show up day to day in a way that you maybe didn't before, that like support you and stuff. And so that there is a reason to not feel alone. But I also know when people retreat back in and stuff, there can be moments that even when they know all of this, even when I've known all of this, it just is like, it can still be heavy because you do need those lows as well as the highs as a part of the spiritual journey, because the lows are what, not like, oh, you can't appreciate the highs without the lows. Sure, that's a part of it, but the lows are, that's a perspective way of looking at it, because they are usually the challenges. They're the things that you eventually overcome and figure your way out through, and then you grow from that. Like, they're absolutely important to the entirety of a whole experience. And anyway, I pulled a card because I figured I would see what this specific deck, because I really like this one. It's kind of, actually is a kind of a Capricorn energy, the way that it talks to me, because it's very like, I'm going to say this and you may not like it, but it's going to be said. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to pick and choose when I pick this deck up. I've also had to rewrite some of the things, but that's just a personal note in the way that it like explains things, because it's the Wildwood Tarot. And I really love the pagan druidic like aspect of all of it, the symbolism and stuff. Like, it very much vibes with someone being from Ireland, but there are also word usages that I don't feel like were necessary in it, that are triggering, you know, at the worst of times. Anyway, moving on from that, what I got was the Page of Vessels, and so that is the Page of Cups. In the tarot, that would be like a message or an interaction or a sign that has to do with your heart space, your emotions, and usually it's like a sign of something good. I mean, it's like, depends on what cards come out with it and stuff, and how you would, I guess, take that or whatever. But what I read from specifically this Otter one, where it's like this being that very easily is land and water, right? And it is sitting here on the edge of something that is a great body of water, like taking time to contemplate. And I saw that and I was like, that's exactly what it is that I've been kind of feeling through and noticing other people going through. And it's like to take a moment to like overview, in a sense, rather than to be in the midst of everything, even if you can like deal with that moment to moment, being in this quiet space. And it's like not as pulled back from everything as like a hermit moment, but it is like maybe finding, actually, and this is a practice I've been trying to figure out. I've like, physically, if I touch my tongue to the roof of my mouth, I can like see myself inside of my own body in not even like a chapel, but like a sacred space. And I've been trying to find and build the strength on like feeling that in any given moment, so that I can bring my vessel into any situation and yet still within find, more so than through breathing, but with a visualization, a safe place, a place of like calmness and centeredness. And so that kind of feels represented in this, but I will also read out some of the words for you, and then I will leave it at that for now. So, contemplating things with a considerate heart. So that's kind of a union of the mind and of the heart space. Learning, trust, and serving with love. And then we have meditation and forgiveness being a big part of this, which forgiveness really stood out because it is a lot of like, when we find ourselves in a hard place because of the way that our mind is acting towards us, because of the comparisons, because of maybe like where you thought you might be in life by now, kind of a comparison or whatever it is. Forgiving, coming to forgiveness, coming to unconditional love is the most empowering practice in that moment. Was there anything else that stood out with this? Oh yeah, loyalty and devotion and perceptiveness is like energies that are a part of this. And then there was something else that stood out to me with forgiveness, blessing. Hang on for a second while I remember it. Okay, got it. So I had to ask the angels. I was about to say it and it went right out of my mouth. So I had this feeling recently, which totally ties in with that way of being hard on yourself because of like Capricorn energies. There's a lot of them in my chart. And they're in my 6th house, so that's not where I'm going with this. Basically, there may be a way you want your life to look, or like a place that maybe you thought you were in, and then you had to go through a bunch of other stuff, and you're like, oh, I thought that I was like ahead of this, or, you know, like, and that's linear using words, but to make it easier for explaining that kind of thing. And then I realized I got this like imagery of a bridge when I started thinking this. Or actually, I started thinking it and then I stopped, and it was like the practice that I've been doing where I'm like, hang on, how does this feel? What is going on that's at the root of this? Because a lot of words and intellectualizing has been a way for me to cope really well. And so then a bridge popped into my head and I'm like, oh my God, the destination or like the thing, the fulfillments or moments of like, okay, I've got it. Like we're at strong points again are moments that you experience after you move across a bridge, but the bridge is not built. You are building the bridge moment to moment as you live through whatever it is that is being served to you by the universe in any given moment for you to deal with, challenge, blessing, whatever it may be. And so, like, to the place, your future self is there, but at the same time, that place does not yet exist because you are still building the bridge that gets present you to that moment. So you're never behind. You're never late, in a sense. You're not ever like in the wrong place on your journey. You are exactly where you are supposed to be. And I hope this finds you with like kindness and love and yeah, celebrate. Have a weird little boogie dance, even if it's like just for a few seconds, under the full moon. And look up, there's a video circulating right now. Look up a video of a caterpillar swimming, because like, I just started wiggling straight away to mimic it. And I'm like, this is my new favorite dance. So yeah, just to bring a little bit of like, shake up the water in that bottle and then like, I don't know, let the fizz out and just like have fun with that. Cause it is an important time and it's a heavy time, and play and remembering like, I don't know, the love and the lightness in existence is a mega important part to balance out all of the really important and heavy stuff that we move through. And so, yeah, I love you. Thank you for being.